All right, FightHype.com here with my man, Dan Birmingham. Dan, obviously, I mean, how many weeks are we out now? Is it 3, 4, something like that?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
How's Keith looking in camp?
He's looking great, mentally and physically, doing all the work he's supposed to do and focused on Garcia.
Is there anything that you guys are doing differently for this fight than maybe what you've done for past fights, or is it pretty much the same routine?
It's pretty much the same. I mean, we just have a different guy in front of us. I study the films and I try to evaluate what's going to work and what's not going to work. And Keith's a brilliant fighter, so you know, he knows.
Just looking at Danny, you know, a lot of times, you know, fans, they look at him and they kind of think, you know, he's a basic fighter. He's one-dimensional, so to speak. As a trainer, though, when you're looking at footage of him, do you see that as well? Do you feel like he's a one-dimensional fighter, or does he have more tools than people are giving him credit for?
I don't believe he's one-dimensional at all. Champs aren't one-dimensional. Champs can make adjustments round by round, what they have to do to win, and he's one of those guys. But he's not going to do it against Keith Thurman.
You know, I was talking to Keith about the whole press conference scene with Angel and everything. I know you guys aren't really talking about that whole situation that much, but just as a fellow trainer, when you see things like that, do you feel like that's good for the sport? I mean, I know it brings attention to fights when things like that happen, but is that good for the sport? Is it good representation?
I think it's boxing. These kind of things happen in boxing. For me, it was just another day at the office.
You know, obviously you guys are focused on getting the victory. Is there anything, you know, special that you kind of want to see out of Keith in this fight, or is it just, you know, get the win and let's move on to the next one?
I want to see him box. I want to see him wear Garcia down. I want to see him take it to the body and then get him out of there if he can.
You know, you've been with Keith pretty much, you know, for the majority of his career and everything. How different do you think he is now from, say, maybe 5 years ago when he was first making his HBO debut? Is he kind of the same fighter, but we're just now getting an opportunity to see some of the things he can do, or has he improved?
Well, I think with the wins and the experience, he can't help but improve. It's just been him maturing along as a great fighter, day by day and fight by fight.
Is you know, him being brought up, you know, with you and in the environment, being around Winky, being around Jeff Lacey, being around guys like that, is that kind of what helped mold him to be the fighter that he is today?
First of all, I give most of the credit to Ben Getty. Ben Getty started him when he was 7 years old. You can't forget Ben.
Of course.
I give Ben most of the credit for Keith Thurman. I'm just trying to continue what he started.
Is that difficult for you as a trainer when you come in and start working with somebody who, you know, started off with someone else who maybe had a little bit different philosophy than you might have?
Not at all. I mean, Ben and I worked together for years, so we traded ideas and exchanged thoughts. So in that regard, I think Keith is gained from both of us. Is
Keith any different now than he was while he was with Ben Getty?
Yeah, he can eat in 5-star restaurants now and live in a nice big house. But no, he's still the same great guy. He's very respectful, yet a killer in the ring, and that's what we want out of Keith.
What is it like for you? I mean, obviously you've been with, you know, world champions before. This isn't your first rodeo, but what's it like for you to just kind of see a fighter grow and become a world champion?
It's very rewarding. It's very rewarding watching Keith and his success come from nothing to really something.
You know, we're down here in St. Pete. You know, a lot of people don't really come out here that much. Is it kind of odd for you when you know, you do get a world champion and then all of a sudden you start getting all the attention and, you know, media people want to come out and stuff like that, or you're just kind of used to it?
That just comes with the territory. I mean, when Wink started, you know, nobody wanted to come out and interview him when he was an amateur, #1 amateur. But when he became world champion, they all wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
So it just comes with the territory.
Yeah, but is that kind of, I don't want to say insulting, but is it kind of, you know, odd, I guess, so to speak, that, you know, they don't want to come out until they become a world champion?
Well, they don't get the publicity. When they get the publicity, everybody wants to be your friend. Everybody wants to say, I know Keith Thurman. I hung out with Keith Thurman. You know, when he was just a kid on the street, it was just his neighborhood friends. And once he became a world champion, everybody says, you know, I want to know Keith Thurman.
You know, I was was telling Keith I was in Cincinnati when he made his HBO debut. I was at the gym. I was like the only one there. I was the only camera there. It was you, it was him. I think Adrian Broner were in there. Everyone was working out. I think you even gave me your number again during that time. It seems like just yesterday that was taking place, but that's been like a 5-year span. Has the road been tough getting to this point? I mean, now he's going to be on CBS. He's had another big fight with Sean Porter. Has the road been long in your perspective, or does the timing seem like it's just right?
I think the timing is just right. I mean, he's been brought along beautifully by Al Haymon, the genius in boxing. Al evaluates his fighters and puts them in the right spots when they're supposed to be there. So in that regard, I think timing was just right.
How do you view the whole welterweight division? I mean, obviously this is a unification fight. I think Errol Spence is going to be fighting Kell Brook for the title, but for all intents and purposes, this fight right here is going to kind of determine the king of the welterweight division. Do you kind of see it that way, or do you feel like there's still business that needs to be handled?
Well, I mean, every fight a fighter has to prove himself. This just happens to be the best fight out there right now. But Errol Spence and a bunch of other guys, they're at the top of the heap too, waiting for their shot.
The one knock that people try and put on Keith is he can't take it to the body because of the Luke Colazo fight. Now, obviously, I know you've been in situations like that before, but the way I kind of viewed it was he can take it to the body because he didn't go down from that shot.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how you look at situations like that?
That's exactly how I view it. Most guys would have went down from a shot like that. I mean, the liver a good shot to the liver paralyzes the whole body. But Keith took it like a champ. He gutted it out. He knew he was in pain for 10 or 20 seconds. Knew he had to rest, and then go back to work. And that's what he did.
Did you know he had that in him prior to that happening, or when you saw that happen, were you like, oh, okay, wow?
Oh, I've seen it. I mean, fighters get hurt in the gym too. And it's like practice. They get hurt in the gym and they learn how to weather the storm. And that's what he did. He weathered the storm.
Obviously, the fight's right around the corner, and God willing, you guys get the victory. And I don't want you to look ahead or anything like that, but just best case scenario after this fight. Are you guys looking to, just jump right into another unification? I mean, these fights are grueling. The training camps are grueling. There's different people have different philosophies about, well, after a hard fight, maybe you should take a softer fight, this, that, and the other. But like, where do you kind of stand when it comes to that philosophy?
You have to evaluate how the fight goes. I mean, is it going to really be a brutal fight? If it's a brutal fight, yeah, say a little bit of rest, and then Al Haymon will do his thing. I think it's, in the end of the day, it's up to Keith. Keith calls the shots. We'll just have to see how tough a fight this is going to be.
Do you think it's going to be a tough fight?
I expect a tough fight. I want to expect a tough fight. I'm not going to go in there complacent. We expect the best out of Danny Garcia. He's fighting the best Keith Thurman. I expect a tough fight.
Dan, I appreciate you giving me your time. Let the fans know what they can expect on March 4th.
Certainly on March 4th, you're going to see Keith Thurman with his hand raised and move on to bigger and better things.